Whether you absolutely hate Apple or swear by all their products, no one can deny that it's one of the biggest companies in the world. The thing is, no company gets to this position of success without having some dirty secrets up their sleeve. Some of Apple's business practices are more than just questionable. They're downright scary. And yes, the company has a PR team in place to make sure you never find out about these secrets. Here are some of the scariest business practices and secrets that Apple doesn't want you to know. Let's begin. Employment of questionable staff. It's not shocking that a company of Apple's size would have hired a few employees in their time that turned out to be the wrong choice. However, there have long been rumors that many of the staff that work in Apple stores engage in practices that are illegal. It's apparently not uncommon for stock to disappear altogether with other merchandise being deliberately damaged. There are also reports of customers' information being stolen from the data and sales figures being incorrectly entered into Apple's systems. Hiring Foxconn for production. Foxconn is a controversial Chinese electronics manufacturer that Apple uses to produce many of its product parts. It's the largest electronics company in the world, but there has been concern over the working practices that it employs. In 2010, 18 people ended their lives by throwing themselves off the roof of the factory building where they worked. Apple carried out an investigation themselves into the working conditions at Foxconn factories and found that they were using underage workers, which they referred to as student interns. While Apple continues to work with Foxconn, there will always be a degree of guilt by association. Raising ebook prices. A judge in Manhattan found Apple to be guilty of teaming with publishers to raise the price of ebooks to undercut Amazon. Amazon had recently promised that customers would pay no more than $9.99 for a book, even bestsellers. Publishers were not happy with this and were approached by Apple with the suggestion that they could set the prices for any books that were sold by iBooks. Some of these publishers then went on to threaten to leave Amazon unless they raised their prices. Apple has denied any wrongdoing in this matter to this day. Becoming part of the NSA's PRISM project. It wasn't so much the fact that Apple was involved in this project that people didn't like. If the NSA tells you that you need to be involved, you don't really have a great deal of choice. But Apple was super vague when they were questioned by journalists about this involvement, and this is what a lot of people were not happy with, especially as they had previously denied being connected with the project at all. Apple refused to release any statement about how far they were involved in this project, and this instantly makes people suspicious. The problem of pollution. There have been many advertising campaigns run by Apple that suggest that they are much more environmentally friendly than most of their competitors. But research has shown that this is definitely not the case. In fact, they actually fall below the likes of Samsung and Dell in certain areas. Attention has also been drawn to the fact that some of the data centers that Apple uses require vast amounts of fossil fuels to keep them running, and that Apple does not appear to be making any effort to introduce the use of renewable energy. Tax avoidance. Although Apple does not use any tax avoidance schemes that are illegal, regular people do not like to hear about big businesses that are not paying a fair amount of tax on the billions that they're making, all by making use of loopholes. Apple, along with other companies, were investigated by the Senate, and it was found that they only pay 2% tax on their profits. Yes, just 2%. This is mainly done by fueling money through a series of holding companies and subsidiaries which are based overseas, where taxation is far lower. While this is not technically illegal, it definitely raises questions about whether Apple employs morally correct practices when it comes to taxes. It is not a nurturing work environment. Employees at Apple have been known to confess that it's not a place where they feel relaxed at work. You feel under pressure to perform all of the time rather than being encouraged to do your best. Line managers are often experiencing a great deal of pressure themselves, and this gets passed to the people that work under them. There's a chance to progress within the company, but this is not an easy task and requires complete dedication. A good balance between work and the rest of your life is definitely not easy to achieve if you're an Apple employee. Getting rid of Google Maps. When an iOS update took Google Maps off the iPhones and replaced it with Apple Maps, instead, a lot of people were unhappy. The main reason for this is that Apple did not have the detail and functionality in their maps that people have been used to with Google Maps. There's also been numerous numerous reports of people getting completely lost when following the directions that Apple Maps gave them. A lot of people have simply downloaded the Google Maps app and continued to use it as it's far more reliable. The salary looks good, but this is not always the case. Even though Apple employees are paid very well, they have to work really hard to earn their money. It's not unusual for employees to be required to work overtime several times a week. In some cases, they are also required to come into work on the weekends. If you were to add up all the hours that an employee were to spend at work on an average week and convert their salary to an hourly rate, the pay isn't nearly as impressive as you'd expect from Apple. Employees with children are not treated fairly. If you're a working parent, you'll understand how your responsibilities as a parent can often conflict with your job. Employees that work for Apple know more than anyone how difficult this can be. Many have stated that if they had to leave work due to a genuine family emergency, they've been made to feel really bad about it. It's also not easy for them to work out the flexible working that they sometimes need as parents, and it seems that Apple doesn't want to fix these policies anytime soon. Apple has more money than the US Treasury. At any given time, Apple has more available cash than the US Treasury. This is estimated to be more than $100 billion and is made up of cash in the bank and assets that can be easily accessed if needed. Defenders of Apple counter this by saying that the Treasury could just print more money if they wanted to, which is something that Apple definitely can't do. Either way, with so much spare cash in hand, Apple has a great deal of choice about what projects they want to get involved in next. Your warranty will be voided if you smoke around your computer. Apple as a company is strongly against smoking, and there's no smoking allowed anywhere in their company premises. It's also a condition of their warranty that you can't smoke around your computer, or the warranty will be voided. If you take your computer to an Apple store or get an Apple engineer to come out, they might not help you if they can smell smoke on the device. To be fair, if cigarette smoke does get inside your machine, it can cause damage to the components. So it's always a good idea to tuck away your iPad before you bring out the cigarettes. Carpenters are always on hand to build walls. When Apple starts to work on a new project, it is top secret, with only the employees that are working on the project allowed to know anything about it. So much so that it's not uncommon at all for completely new rooms to be built overnight when a new project is due to start. There is a team of carpenters that is always on hand in case a wall needs to go up quickly. If you don't have access to these areas, you'll be completely in the dark about what's going on. New employees are often put on fake projects. Just because you landed a job at Apple does not mean that you're going to be trusted immediately. It's not uncommon for new employees at Apple to be put on projects that are completely fake. If news of this project gets out, Apple will obviously be able to track exactly where it has come from. Employees have to prove their loyalty and their discretion before they're asked to contribute to any real projects. This is why virtually no details of any product are released without Apple wanting you to know about it. That's a wrap for this video. Which of these Apple secrets surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.